Also, talk about how she's going to be instrumental in helping the UAA, as we just talked about, really move up in the chain. And she's going to close out the show, I think, right, Chris?
We saved the best for last. I mean, what else can I say?
Awesome. Well, bring her on. Let's go.
All right, Kathryn, welcome. Aaron Krause, you probably ran into him. Scrub Daddy was at the Lowe show. He looked completely exhausted, so I hope you're not as exhausted as him. But he came on and he went through the whole protocol, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, I lost you guys' sound for a minute.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. You're back. Yeah, I mean, I was running around the Lowe's meeting. I actually, I represented a product called Grabo that I actually found at the National Hardware Show.
Yeah, wow. I saw you doing some videos on it.
Yeah, it was really cool. In fact, I should have it with me. But I mean, that's how we all fell in love, right? We met at the National Hardware Show, which is such a great place for, inventors to go, and everybody, we've been going for years and years. So, as you guys know, or, the viewers might not know, is, I worked in-house public relations for 17 years. So I am a self-proclaimed product geek. So I have seen it. I love products, home products are my jam. Who doesn't need a home product, whether it's an apartment, whether it's whatever it is. Scrub Daddy, though, I mean, that is so simple. I remember my kid used to love that thing. We'd find it in Best Buy. But yeah, I went over and saw he was in the cleaning category, but they set up this Lowe's. I'm sure he told you. They set up the convention center. It's actually used to be called the Sands, but now it's the Venetian, to look just like a Lowe's. And it's like 700,000 square feet of just products. Everybody, you guys would love it. You would go nuts.
He was in the
there.
same room that I was in during my Shark Tank visit for 10 days when I was locked in prison.
Oh, right.
You probably don't even know the story. At Shark Tank, the last round, when it was during the pandemic, they did it at the Venetian. It was a bubble, so we had to get tested to go into this bubble. And then we were in our room at the Venetian for 10 days. We pitched on the 11th day. Couldn't even go in the hallway. You can look out at Vegas and all the beautiful sights, but I had to stay in the room.
Crazy. I mean, there's worse places you could be locked in than Vegas, but it's.
I will tell you though, try being locked in a room for 10 days by yourself.
Yeah, I might go crazy. We're all people on this call, right? But but yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, being self-proclaimed, and I'm also actually fortunate enough. I get to go back in March. I'm actually presenting for Home Depot, but I'm actually on a stage with 7 products in the electrical department. So that's kind of a bittersweet and home sweet home, because, being there for 17 years and then leaving because my position was relocated to Atlanta after 17 years and coming back and being hired directly by them, representing products. And I'm geeking out because I'm a lighting girl. I love myself some good lumens and watts. So thrilled to be going back to that, and, happy to be talking to you guys. I'm so happy we're all connected, because what a lineup you've had today, by the way.
Boy.
By the way, it's 5, isn't it 5 o'clock? I mean, are you allowed to get your glasses of wine while we do this?
It's 5 o'clock. We started at texting each other about 5 in the morning, but we really jumped out about 8:30 this morning. Haven't stopped. We had Joy on, and Marcy and Aaron and Mike, and we had what a powerhouse lineup. And like I said, we're closing it. Oh, we had Steve Greenberg too. We're closing it with you. Save the best for last.
Yeah. Hey, Kathryn, not to jump in, cut you off. I heard a rumor that Lowe's was bringing in a pet division. Is that right? Pet products?
Yeah, they have a partnership with, is it Petco, I believe? Yeah. That's actually common knowledge. Actually, it was announced. If you do a Google search on LinkedIn, or a Google search and look on LinkedIn, I saw that. So, I mean, yeah, doesn't it make so much sense though? Because think about it, products for home. Of course you want to buy things for your pets. In fact, my cat is like staring at me right here while I'm on. I should come here, get in the cameo, kitty. But yeah, absolutely. They are. Isn't that amazing? So just another thing, Depot tried it out. I want to say they tried it out and it wasn't too successful, but I like that Lowe's is partnering with somebody that's already so well established, because everybody knows Chewy, but Chewy's come up through the ranks and they have such good customer service and represent. Like I have friends who tell me, oh, their dog died, so they had to stop the subscription of the food, and Chewy sent them a bouquet of flowers. So I like that Lowe's is realizing they need to, if they're going to get a good partner, get someone established. Like, I believe it's Petco or PetSmart, and I'm sorry, I should know which one it is, but isn't that exciting?
Yeah, it
Great.
is.
And, Damon, my partner, Damon John, he's big into Lowe's. He's got a partnership with Lowe's as well. So
I mean, a lot of those sharks, the funny thing is, Lori, when Scrub Daddy actually made it into Home Depot, they always used to ask me, can I bring cameras in? And it was before Shark Tank is what it is. And I just would deny it because we were just so busy and I couldn't even manage it. And Lori Geiger called me directly, like back in 2004. And she's like, hi, yeah, we really need to do this. So I was like, okay, go ahead, go on in. But I mean, Home Depot and Lowe's, they're smart. The sharks are just, it's such a good format. And, that's why I love what you guys are doing here. Cause it's like, not everybody can go on Shark Tank, but let's do a smaller format of it. And that's why I was so excited when you guys decided to partner with me, because your lineup has been so fantastic, because it's how to get the product to market, how to set even like the last presentation with the website and the pricing, such great advice. And then where I come in is, kind of once it's through all those loops, how to give it a voice, and, how to get attention, and how to really get attention from those big retailers, or even those medium to small size retailers that you want to pay attention to the product and take it to the next level. So I love what we're doing over here. It's really cool.
Kathryn, let's talk about that a little bit, because we spent a lot of time today on the front end, getting your product launched, and patent searches, and all of it, the tooling, and how much work it is, including packaging. Everyone forgets about packaging, but then we get down to the real stuff. How do you market it? How do you get it in front of big names? So talk about that a little bit, because that's your expertise, right? National media exposure. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the quick elevator pitch for those that are watching that don't know who I am. So I worked in-house at Home Depot for 17 years. I was lucky enough, I told the product stories primarily. So I've seen a lot of products, but I also was in charge of telling stories. So you looked at a Home Depot, there's 50,000 products in store, 250,000 online. That was, back then. There's even probably more now. I needed to be the voice and get people interested in products that you might not really think are that sexy, like, plumbing, rough plumbing, or, light bulbs, which aren't really that sexy, but they are sexy because they can make you look really good. But so like the marketing piece. So that's what I do now is, I left Home Depot, and I give products voices. So whether it's in print, whether it's online, whether it's in TV, just really helping develop, how to make sure, number one, who are you talking to? I think the first thing straight out of the gate you need to think of, and I mean, Carmen, Chris, you can agree with me on this one, is define what problem you're going to solve for somebody, and how are you going to communicate that to them. So, whether it's a lighting issue, say like, the house is dark, people are tripping, whether it's a plumbing issue, whether it's whatever the problem is, that your product, you're going to save people time. You're going to make life easier. You're going to make it more enjoyable. Whoever your audience is, that's a huge thing. And kind of developing your voice along those lines, so you really are talking to the right people in the right way, and kind of an authentic voice. So that's one thing that I typically will start doing, and then getting it out, of course, on the right channels. I would say, like, use all the social media channels. It's funny, during COVID, my own personal social media channels it's Kathryn Emery TV. And I spent COVID really building my channels just to show that I do have authority. And I will tell you, it is a full-time job. You use hashtags, like and follow similar accounts, like, so Scrub Daddy, if I was a Scrub Daddy, for example, I would go follow Newell Rubbermaid. I would go follow Quickie. I would go follow all the big guys to the small guys, comment on the stuff, like stuff, really engage, because that's how you're going to get the authenticity back at you. And you can do it yourself, of course, but if you have a little bit of budget to spend, the most important thing to spend it on is brand awareness, is letting people know who you are. And that's the hardest thing for small inventors. And I'll stop for a minute, Chris and Carmine, let you guys jump in, but don't you find that that's the hardest, it's the most painful thing for a small inventor, is to make that little initial, however much you can, investment on creating your voice and creating your market share and getting your brand awareness out there. And you can't necessarily always see that ROI right away. Like, oh my God, we just spent $5,000 and I only sold 4 units in the first, week after the TV spot. And I kind of get people that come back and go, but it's the people that are out there. It's, marketing is the rule of 7. If someone sees it 7 times, then they'll make the purchase. They're not going to go run to purchase it right away. So really kind of swallowing that, like, you got to get it out there, and whether it's perfect or not, it doesn't matter. Just get it out there, make sure it's authentic enough and make sure it's good enough, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Just start getting it out there. I mean, haven't you guys found that the repetitiveness? That's what we're going to do with the UIA. We're going to just keep getting more of our message out there, talking to the right people, following the right people, having the right people follow us back. I mean, we want our inventors to follow us. We want our big boxes to follow us. We want our trade shows like National Hardware Show to follow us. We want our partners, like everyone that's been on today, present company excluded, to follow us. And then that's where you get your kind of community and you start building it up. And then that's where you get more and more attention. And it's just an authentic way to do it.
Yeah, we want to really get the UIA in everybody's face all day long. We show them all the things we're doing. We've actually, Joy agreed to be on our advisory board. So that's a big help. That's another big outlet. And we want to continue to get sponsorships, big sponsorships, to help drive some of our initiatives so we can go to every one of these shows. Chris Landano has been jumping in the shows and going to all of them. He's going to go to the Houseware show and just continue to broaden our awareness, because we have so much to offer, right? That think about like what we can provide for the everyday inventor who doesn't understand what the next steps are.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that as Kathryn and Chris, you're exactly right, is we work on a lot of projects and the inventor has an awesome product. They have it, it's on its way or it's delivered. And from there, yeah, they do the normal stuff, the Amazon, and they do these things. But in reality, the inventor that doesn't have the connection, the knowledge, the experience, they're stuck with, what do I do next? And that's why, Kathryn, being able to bolt what you do on, it can really explode so many of these products.
No, absolutely. And, that's such a good point, because where do you go and how do you start building? And you don't, sorry, so I'm sorry that I just keep lagging. I have YouTube up in front of me so I can see some comments in case anyone has a question. So Carmine, I just thought I was talking over you, so apologize about that. Real-time TV. I mean, this living room, I've filmed many things in here. You got your like ring lights. I got everything going on in here, but because it's crazy. It's everything. But yeah, you're so spot on. It's just getting the word out there, because if you don't even have a website, even if it's not perfect. And obviously our guest before was really great on that. Have it, because then when you really do start getting the momentum going, it's just getting, and also just authentic voice, because I follow a lot of, and I'm friends with a lot of the home improvement and tool influencers, like, Tools in Action, Pro Tool Review, VCG Construction. I could go on and on based on the category, but even getting, partners like that involved. I mean, obviously, there is a lot of stuff that's a pay to play scenario, things cost money, but I have like, companies reach out to me. In Deep Irrigation is a company that just started following me on social media. Don't know him at all. Looked at the product, love the product, talked to the guy, truly genuine guy. So I'm gonna help them get the word out there, because when you find someone that's like genuinely interested in your product, and it's whether it's an influencer, whether it's a public relations agency, whether it's a marketer, whether it's a website person, if they feel your passion and they see that this is something that they could get behind and really support you. I have a scalable, obviously I make money on brands I talk about, but I have a scalable, where if it's a small business that I think is just a really great product, of course I'm going to help someone out. Or if it's a larger brand, you charge a little bit more, but it's just, that's really kind of how you can just look around and, just be so aware and be so engaged. And I think, the social media part of it, television, public relations, marketing, all that stuff is such an important component. And if you don't know how to do it, even finding a small agency, I know I'm lucky enough to be in a group of these phenomenal women that all do public relations and have done for years. And they're also scalable too. If they see something and they believe in it, say, hey, why don't we do a percentage thing? If, why don't I pay you this upfront this year, but next year as I start to grow, we can change the format and I can pay you more. There's always kind of ways to work towards things like that. But, it's just I always just say, be authentic with your voice, try to find the right audience that you're talking to. And I mean, social media, it is really, for me personally, a lot of my friends that are at Lowe's and Home Depot, True Value, they follow my LinkedIn, they see what I do. So they're looking out there. They're following National Hardware Show. They're all going to start following UIA after we're done with this. We're going to send them this link and say, why aren't you following us? But I'm sure they probably already are, right?
Yeah. We just have to give relevant information. And that's why it's going to be so great work with you.
Think about the platforms everyone has now. I have this woman, Brandy, that I work with called the Jurse. It's a jacket that turns into a purse, vice versa. She quit her job. She was a chemist and she started to basically post on TikTok and it blew up. She made more money in 2 days than she did as a whole year's salary as a chemist. She was like, oh my God, what do I do next, Chris? Like it literally blew up overnight. And it's just taken off now. But think about all the different avenues we have to show off our products and what we do, right, with social media. TikTok is it blows me away with all the things on TikTok and how many people are on that platform.
Well, and that's such a good point. So I'm glad you brought up TikTok because I'm kind of like an old school operator a little bit, because I look at these social media platforms and I think how can a brand monetize on that? Like, how are they going to like sell a product, right? Whereas like that's one thing too to think about, like utilizing these social media channels. So obviously LinkedIn is more for, and this is probably, social media 101, but it's worth talking about, right? Like LinkedIn that's where you're going to meet the connections. That's where you want to be really buttoned and, put your business face forward. And like your chemist friend, like, I left the lab and put my coat on and my purse on at the same time. And now I'm chasing my dreams. You know what I mean? Like What does Ralph Waldo Emerson says? It's never too late to be what you might've been. Right. So, but then Facebook for me, for like the Home Depots and the Lowe's merchants of the world, I really do feel like Facebook is a great demographic for like kind of those middle age, and I'm included in that group where they're like been a little more established in business. Whereas Instagram, I feel like you got a lot of like I'm also there too, but you got a lot of kind of, you can be a little more hip and chic. And then TikTok, oh my God, I got to learn TikTok, those reels and just trying to make it. But TikTok, they're going to smell it a mile away if you are being too commercial on TikTok. So right. That's a whole nother animal, right? Where you gotta, somehow make those light bulbs sexy on TikTok, but then will the retailer or the manufacturer really like the content? Because, everybody says, oh, let's make it go viral. And I worked for Clorox Pool and Spa. I tell their stories on television every year. And I said, I don't know if you guys are going to want to hear this, but the way to make it go viral is if me and 6 of my girlfriends are in our bikinis drinking martinis and it says Clorox Pool and Spa keeps our pool fresh. And they're like, yeah, I don't think we're going to get that by corporate, but it's like to genuinely go viral. That's why like being a small inventor, like utilize that time right now where you can actually be your own brand's voice and be a little wild, be a little crazy. Don't be brash and don't be rude and don't offend anyone, which is very easy to do, unfortunately, these days. But, there is a fine line, obviously, but also realize that when you're a little bit smaller and you're a little bit scrappier, I feel like that's even more authentic. And that's going to get you, like the guy, the inventor of Ring doorbell, right? Jamie. So we used to sit down because Home Depot launched their product, right? And he said, yeah, I went to the meeting. I don't know if this is public knowledge, but it is now. So we went to a meeting with the merchant and it was so early in the morning. He wore sweatpants on the overnight plane, woke up at 6 for the meeting, realized he didn't pack any pants. So he's like, do I go to the meeting in sweatpants or do I go and buy, couldn't go buy, but he went in there and the Home Depot merchants, they didn't care. It was like authentic. And he was who he was. I mean, it wasn't necessarily putting your best foot forward, but it's just being small and scrappy kind of allows you to be a little more creative, but just getting the word out there, and then that's it. You'll look at my stuff on YouTube, my earlier stuff. In fact, there's one thing where I'm showing a pressure washer to clean windows, and I'm showing another product, and it's getting so much traction because the pressure washers hate me, because the window washers, professional window washers of the world hate me, but it's out there, and it's not a perfect video, but it brings more traffic to my site. Then maybe somebody might like it, and it goes on and on. So it's just getting the right voice and, finding those right partners, whether it's a small social media agency. But one other thing too, and I don't know if Carmine and Chris, you've experienced this, but I always recommend too, finding a group. If you're going to find a group to help you bring your voice, finding a group that knows your brand, your product. So if you're a purse company, or if you're a home improvement product, or if you're whatever you do, don't just go hire an agency that says, oh, I'm going to give you this, that, and the other. Hire an agency that knows that industry specifically that you're in. That's why I'm in the home improvement industry, because I've been, telling products for so long now. Do I wish I was in the food and wine industry and the travel industry so I could be on jets and drinking wine and from Italy while we're having this conversation? Of course I do. But instead I'm surrounded by, cushions and light bulbs, but it's all good, right? So just make sure that portion of it.
No, absolutely. Brand recognition is a big deal, and having people understand that is a big deal. It's funny you talk about TikTok. I was just strolling there one day, and Aaron's all over the place now, but Aaron is now doing TikTok videos, and he was doing one where he was a godfather, and his best friend Will was the one asking questions. It was like, it just caught my attention. Like, I usually stroll through that and just watching some of the videos. It's pretty funny. I'll forward them to some of my friends. That one hit and resonated. I sent it today. Dude, I didn't know you were the godfather. Like, you're not even Italian. I'm Italian. What do you mean you're the godfather? It was pretty funny. You did a great job on it too. It was really good. It was like a scene out of the movie.
Oh my God. Well, and I mean, but you're so spot on, right? You just don't know what's going to hit sometimes. So just try it. What's the harm? And it's like, there are so many of those rules. I mean, if you have even a small incremental budget, and you can partner with somebody to help you build a brand page, build a good website, get that social out there, get your right tagline, get your right message, even just to get started. Because it is, I mean, you guys see, it's a full-time job. I spend at least 2 hours a day staring. My son always says, Mama, take your phone off. He doesn't say put your phone down. Mama, take your phone off. And I'm like, okay. And you're trying to raise a kid and go, don't look at screen time's bad. And every time he's like, well, the first thing you do when you wake up is stare at social media. And I'm like, well, that's what's paying for the video game that you're playing with later. So don't harass me right now, child. But, it's like, I'm out there, liking and commenting and following every, similar accounts and my influencer friends, and, seeing what competitors are doing, seeing what the trends are, all that stuff. So it's just important to really immerse yourself. And if you don't have the time, recognize that you don't have the time and make that investment, because that's how, if you even have a small imprint, then you can really, help get the word out there. And that's what you want. You never know. My son, he actually, this is a random story, but he was actually pulled on stage by Michael Bublé at a concert, and we are going to go see him again. And I said, son, lightning doesn't always strike twice. I don't know if Michael's going to see you again. And he said, but Mama, didn't you always say put out in the universe what you want back? Like, so the student's teaching the teacher, but, I always say that that's so much so with your business and, how you present your product is, put it out there as best you can, and just kind of manifest that it's going to happen, because, it's hard. It's competitive. There's a lot of stuff. There's, online, there's competition. There's, oh my God, am I ever going to make it right? But just keeping on, moving forward and really finding that right voice and trying it and seeing what people think. And realizing that you're not everybody's gonna love you. I always joke, I can't wait until I get some haters, because that means that I've really arrived. So I have
My
a few,
son
I
always
have a
says,
few
if
here and
somebody's
there.
not hating on you, you didn't make it.
I'm like, I can't wait till we're all sitting around and I do get that show where I'm hosting. That's what I'm manifesting in the world. I'd love to host something where I, like, hey, maybe we take this show on the road. Netflix picks us up, Hulu picks us up, somebody picks us up. We're behind, we're what happens after Shark Tank, right? Or better yet, we're what happens before Shark Tank. Like, we're grooming them and then we put them on, right? I mean,
I'll tell you, we got big plans for this year, and it's already starting to kick off. I mean, you can imagine, like, Carmen had an idea last week about doing a show today, and it was, I don't know, 5 days ago, and I'm like, okay. So I started to go to work. He started to go to work, and we made it happen. And it's because of the network, right? You got to have a good pool of people that you can trust and you can rely on. You can ask them to do things like Aaron was literally getting ready to get on a plane. He was right in between. He said, yeah, I'll do it. I just got to find the right time. I said, well, you tell me, I'll make it work. So anyone that we asked wanted to. The only one we didn't get, really, Damon wants to do something with us. It was Judy Edwards. She was literally skiing. I said, well, I don't want you skiing and being on the show. That could be like dangerous. Yeah. So we'll catch you next round. But everyone else was happy to jump on and help. And what a great day it's been today. It really was. It's incredibly informative. I mean, people are paying thousands of dollars for this knowledge and this information, and we're offering it for free. So we're just going to continue to get good sponsorships and blow up the memberships and continue to do these every single month. It's maybe not, 9-10 hours a day, but we'll definitely do smaller versions of it. And then we'll start doing all these new shows. So I'm excited about what's coming down the pike.
Yeah, definitely. No, absolutely. It's fun. I love that, people, I like that people who have made it are willing to help. And that's one thing, honestly, as you go through, whether you're an inventor of a product or whether you're in business or whatever, in my 20 years that I've been in the home improvement industry, when I was in-house at Home Depot, I go to these big functions with all these, vendors, all these merchants, and it didn't matter who you were, let's have a conversation. How can I help you? Obviously there's only so many hours in the day, so you can't help everyone. But I mean, even having a conversation with someone, just seeing people and responding and, being aware and being willing to, for me, I mean, when I launched my business in 2018, it just was amazing. I was so flattered and touched with how many people were willing to help me. Even to this day, I've got a merchant friend that says, hey, there's a great brand, you need to work with them, or I get a recommendation or whatever. But that's just from even doing things like this. Who knows? Like, now I got to meet you gentlemen, and look at how wonderfully embedded you are in the industry. And let's help the UIA help the inventors tell their stories and different ways to tell their stories, So it's just, you never know where someone's going to end up, and you never know where a road's going to lead you. So if it's relevant in any capacity, and you have the time and you have the potential, you should definitely even go a few steps down the road if you can, without spreading yourself too thin, but realizing what really could, end up being something. So, and then I have a question. Somebody asked me a question here. If you guys don't, it is Petco. Thank you, Kim Drew. One of my PR superstars was commenting in here. Okay, somebody asked me, how do you keep your content fresh? So I would say for that one is relevancy. A seasonal thing. It's not, if you don't have time to search for the trends yourself in your industry, watch news. Whatever news channel it is, or like a hashtag or similar. And then if you can, alter your story based on kind of a seasonal or a trend. So you always kind of stay relevant. So for example, like if it's a back to school time, making sure if your product has time to talk about that. If it's a spring related product, maybe it's an outdoor product. I mean, just something where, you could change your content based on, and kind of try to fit it into whatever that story or whatever that season is. And then, presentation is huge, making sure you have the right lighting, making sure you're in an area, like I'm in a cozy corner here, but there's not too much like noise going on in the background. If you actually have the product itself, show the product itself. If you don't have professional images and B-roll footage, which is what you call like video footage of the product, not only a close-up on the product, but the product in action, get it. Highly recommend it, and film it in a horizontal view, because that's what most Instagram's the only and TikTok are the only ones that go vertical. The rest of them, like YouTube, even on television, they need horizontal. So just having kind of some assets that you can go in with, where you can, you know, like for example, while we're talking, if I was talking about like my Home Depot days, I would have like sent you guys some footage, and you could roll some like still images of me, you know, in my apron doing my thing. It just kind of keeps people's visual attention on it more than just like watching just one thing. So having, you know, having a little bit of a change, and then keeping it short and concise. Get in and get out, unless you're on QVC and HSN, which they like you to take a long time because you're having a conversation about the product. But I mean, social media and TV, they in marketing, you know, get your 3 to 5 bullets. Realize that people have a very short attention span. What is the best thing about your product, or what's your call to action? If they're interested, they'll go to your website and they'll dig in more, or they'll dig in another way. On TV, you get, you know, 3 minutes. If I can get one point in, like that, like the Grabo that I was at Lowe's store managers meeting, it suctions onto something and lifts up to 375 pounds. I'm telling this to Lowe's store managers over and over again. It's that point. It saves your professional contractors time and money. You know, this couple other talking points, boom, that's it. Then you get them. And if you don't get them, then you're not going to talking at them more and giving them more information and more information. The chances are they're not going to keep watching it unless it's an educational video. And then of course you're going to format it a little bit differently.
Right.
Awesome. All right. This
Okay.
is great stuff. Great stuff. Hey, so Kathryn, you're going to be at we're going to start closing up the show, but you're going to be at the hardware show.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to do something with you on stage or whatever we can do. I know you're going to be so busy there, but we have to try to do something to help our inventors while we're there.
Highly, highly, highly recommend people go to the National Hardware Show. I was just talking to some merchants at some of the retailers yesterday, hyping it up. So absolutely, I will be there. You can count on it. Did you see that so this year, the National Hardware Show's April 5th through the 7th, registration's open right now.
Mm-hmm.
So go register right now. It'll be great. It'll be a really good show. And then next year in 2023, National Hardware Show combined with KBIZ, Kitchen and Bath Show, and IBIZ, International Builders Show. So that'll all be 2023, January 31st to February 2nd. So for inventors, that's even great. Still go to National Hardware Show, of course, because that's where people go to see the new products, and you know, really the retailers go to look for the new products. But then you've got different audiences there. You've got the, you know, the Kitchen and Bath Show, and the IBIZ will bring just even more foot traffic. And right now, this year, 2022, the floor covering show is also at the same time as National Hardware Show. And I'm so sad I'm blanking on another one, but they did merge with a couple other shows. I want to say it's like a garage door opener or something to do with garage doors and something to do with flooring and like surfaces. So at least that'll be good too. But you know, just the more the better, right? The more the merrier. So
Always.
I look forward to let's have some fun at the National Hardware Show. Let's play with products at the National Hardware Show. That's what it's all about, right?
I totally agree. People love products. They love inventions. The National Hardware Show area for innovators, our inventor area, is the most traveled. The most people come through there. They love inventions. Everyone loves to talk about inventions and see them. So yeah, we can't wait to get there with you and do something together. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. 100%.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thank you guys for thinking to have me on here and you know, partnering up with me. It just, like I said, just like my son says, put it out in the universe. It'll come back to you. We found each other at National Hardware Show, and we're going to help some of your inventors here and, you know, build more awareness to our great organization here that we're trying to let people know we're here to help them. So happy to be part of the cause.
Great. Thank you so much. And anyone that's out there listening, if you want information on the hardware show, please get in touch with us and we'll push you over to somebody who will be able to get you set up to go to the hardware show. The UAA has a very large area there for inventors, as we are putting on more events that we will be frequenting the PGA show. different things, lawn and garden show in Texas. So we are adding events on as we speak. Christopher Landano is helping us do that. He's been awesome going out to all the different events and making some great contacts. I want to thank all of our presenters, if they're listening, not listening down the road today, that came on and gave us their time. They were instrumental in helping inventors. It's been an awesome National Inventors Day. Christopher Guerrero, who put this great event on, I made him do about this much, but he did the rest. It was an awesome show. I keep getting comments and people telling us how much it's helped them. So Chris, thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I mean, enjoy doing it, and what a crew we have. We just have a great network now, and we have great folks on the UIA that are all willing and wanting to help everybody. So, yeah, thanks to them as well.
Yep, and if you are not a UIA member, please go on out to UIAUSA.org and become a member. It's currently free, so we would love to have you. And if you get a chance, please, we live off of donations at the UIA, so don't forget, if we help you out or if you can give us a donation, it would be awesome. So I think that's it for today for National Inventors Day. I thank you all for listening in, and we will catch you on our next show. Our next show, we're going to try to do it next month, will probably be on licensing. We have not secured that yet, but we will try to do a show like this next month. It might not be as long, but we are going to start putting some great content out, and we will make an announcement early March on what the show is going to be. So hopefully we'll get to see everyone there again. So for myself, Carmen Dinisco, Mr. Christopher Guerrero, Mr. Christopher Landano, and all of our presenters and the people that have helped out, we thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time on UIA TV. You all take care.